Andrea, it's been almost 3 years since the police arrested Billy Chimere. We've heard a lot about him. He's a suspected serial killer. I believe he's charged in 18 murders and 2 attempted murders in Dallas and Collin counties. Not yet gone to trial, but you're taking a look back on this story that started at least a couple of years ago. Kind of tell us why you're doing the deep dive now.
So a couple of reasons. Right now, the state legislature is meeting, which only happens every 2 years here in Texas. And there are about 4 bills that have been inspired by the experiences of these victims' families. They've come together, they've organized, and they're pushing for change. It's not focused so much on who committed these murders, but on the circumstances around how this happened, how this killer was able to get away with it for so long, and really even how it was handled after it was in the hands of police. They are worried that even if you take sort of the killer, the person responsible, out of the picture, if those circumstances are still around, somebody else could do the exact same thing and get away with it. And that's their biggest fear. They want to change the law. They want to make it harder for someone to be able to do that. And then secondly, there is a whole lot that's changed in 3 years. I mean, one of the women that we spoke to only found out about a year and a half ago that her mother may have been one of these victims. Her mother's death certificate was changed, and no one told her. Police were investigating it. The medical examiner was looking into it, and she didn't find out until one of her friends, thinking she already knew, contacted her on Facebook. And that's just not an experience that she wants anyone else to go through. So these women have come together, they are pushing for change, and that's the story we wanted to tell.
Well, and they're really focusing on senior living centers because that's where all of these women who were killed, that's where they lived, right? In senior living centers?
The vast majority of them. And there was definitely a pattern there. The first three murders that Billy Schmiermeer has been connected to happened at a place called Edgemere, back to back to back. And then we know that in June of 2016, after those three murders, that Dallas police confronted him. They cited him with trespassing. And then all of a sudden in July, he moved on to another place where he committed, I think it was 8 murders. He's accused of committing 8 murders back to back. Then there was a couple more at another place, and then there was the Preston place in Plano, where there were about 7 murders within a 5-month period that he's been linked to. So it definitely seemed like these were his hunting grounds. And the fact that he was able to go back over and over and over again, that was something that immediately caught the attention of the victims' families. They have filed civil lawsuits against these retirement communities, and now they want to take it a step further, and they want to create laws that make these places safer and also more transparent, so that if there is a pattern like this that's going on, that victims' families are notified.
Well, and I think let's be clear here. When you say these numbers, it sounds crazy, 7 within 5 months, but at the time, no one thought any of these were murders, right?
With the exception of really the last one where he was almost caught in the act, these were being ruled death by natural causes. Some of the victims' families had their suspicions, but yeah, the thought was these are all elderly women. Some of them were in their 90s, and there wasn't, the scenes didn't have sort of obvious evidence of murder, and so it was just dismissed as somebody dying of natural causes.
Well, and you and I have worked on this story, I think, almost since Shamir was arrested. And you've talked to, obviously, in these stories that you're doing this week, you've talked to at least two, or you've interviewed on camera 2 victims' families, but you've been in contact with many more. Do you get the sense, I mean, are these women really, are they part of a group now? Like, are they friends? What's their relationship like?
I think they are friends, yeah, and they have formed a group, Secure Our Senior Safety, that we talk about in one of the stories. They've come together. This is an experience they say nobody really understands but them. And the way one of them explained it was, it is horrible to lose a parent. On top of that, when a lot of them lost their parents, they had sort of suspicious circumstances around it. There was jewelry missing, so they were left uneasy. And then on top of that, to later find out that you have to sort of rethink it all, and that your parent died at the hands of someone, that they were murdered, is just such a unique experience. So they definitely seem to have bonded over this, and also in trying to make change. So absolutely, they've come together. They have this very unique common experience, uh, and a very unique sense of purpose.